years, and you endured hunger, no water or electricity, use, and witnessing your father physically abuse your mother.
I had a memory when I was 9 years old, and I remember my parents fighting in the middle of the night. My older sister, Diane, told me to go in the house or people would hear me, so I ran in the house.
The trauma of the violence is, the side effects of trauma, we know about it now. At the time, I just internalized it.
Apparently, even idols are not always so blessed. Who knew Viola Davis went through so much? Hearing the actor open up about how rough her childhood was, you'd realize that some people really went through hell to get to where they are today. And you'd imagine that her time in the industry has at least been easier. But you'd be so wrong.
And got down on my knees and closed my eyes. I put my hands together and said, God, if you exist, if you love me, you'll take me away from this life.
When it comes to acting, Viola Davis is an absolute force in Hollywood. Whether she's commanding the screen as the fierce Annalise Keating in How to Get Away with M, or embodying the resilience of characters like Aibileen Clark in The Help, Davis is renowned for her versatility and her knack for delivering powerful performances that tug at your heartstrings.
I thought I might write my stories down and read them to you. And no different than writing down my prayers.
Often, when an actor is as gifted as Viola Davis, folks tend to think they must have endured some real hardships to bring such depth to their roles. But even then, it's tough to wrap your head around just how rough and tragic Viola Davis's childhood was. It's especially mind-boggling when you consider how much she's achieved and grown as a powerhouse actress at 54.
The only thing I knew how to do was to just stand there and be frightened. And to go to school with that trauma, to go to school being hungry.
According to the Daily Mail, Viola Davis has openly discussed the tough reality of her childhood. Back in 2014, while being honored for her charitable work with the organization Hunger is at Variety's Power of Women luncheon, Davis didn't hold back. She shared that growing up as the youngest of 6 in a working-class family in Central Falls, Rhode Island, brought immense shame. It took her years to come to terms with how that upbringing shaped her. Davis admitted that although there were happy moments, the constant struggles made it difficult for her to just be a kid.
So when I gained vision and strength and forgiveness, I can remember what it means to be a child who was hungry. I could remember what it means to be in trauma.
A significant motivation behind Viola Davis's dedication to the charity Hunger stems from her own experiences with hunger during childhood. She's been candid about the extreme measures she took just to get something to eat, like rummaging through garbage bins infested with maggots or relying on the generosity of neighbors who had regular meals. Despite these hardships, Davis found solace in her academic pursuits, describing herself as a
I could remember what it means to be a child who dreams and sees no manifestation of it. I could remember because I lived it.
This passion led her to Rhode Island College, where she studied drama and ultimately paved the way for her extraordinary career. Today, Davis stands as a megastar in the entertainment industry, boasting an Academy Award, an Emmy, 2 Tonys, and numerous other accolades, all testament to her remarkable talent and resilience.
And beautiful white women with their arms stretched out to me over that line.
She is definitely a success story, which just goes to show that no matter what your circumstances are growing up, it's always still possible to reach new heights and achieve your dreams.
And let me tell you something. The only thing that separates women of color from anyone else is opportunity.
Still, as Davis made sure to mention at the luncheon, her story of childhood poverty is sadly only one of many like it. As she explained, the stain in this country is that 1 out of every 5 children in this country are living in households that are food poor. Speaking of the way this can affect other aspects of a child's life, Davis added, and of all the elementary school teachers out there, they say 3 out of every 5 kids in their class come to school hungry. She said that even at her own high school, she was only one of many children who had to navigate their way through the darkness and come out the other side. Viola Davis's journey is indeed a remarkable rags to riches tale. Despite facing severe hardships during her upbringing, she managed to overcome her circumstances and achieve success. Davis has candidly shared the challenges she endured while growing up, including the struggle to secure basic necessities like food. In her own words, she reflected on a childhood marked by poverty, recounting instances where she resorted to desperate measures such as stealing and scavenging in garbage bins for sustenance. Davis's determination to survive led her to form alliances within her community in pursuit of food, but it came at the cost of a traditional childhood, leaving her burdened with shame.
And just the stigma of poverty, the feeling on the outside, the feeling invisible, the lack of access, which is why I talk about it all the time.
Viola Davis's harrowing journey from poverty to success is compounded by the presence of an abusive father who battled alcoholism and was a former boxer. She has recounted the tumultuous environment of her childhood, where her father's weekly and violent outbursts cast a shadow over their home.
I could remember poverty.
Despite the trauma inflicted by her father, Davis acknowledges a transformative shift in his behavior before his passing in 2006. He began expressing remorse and seeking forgiveness from her mother daily. This reconciliation process served as a catalyst for Davis herself to forgive her father. Despite the pain and suffering she endured, Davis chooses to remember the moments of love and affection she shared with her father. By embracing forgiveness, she liberates herself from the burden of resentment and chooses to honor his love rather than dwell on his past transgressions. I wanted to love my dad. And here's the thing, my dad loved me. I saw it, I felt it, I received it, and I took it. For me, that's a much better gift and less of a burden than going through my entire life carrying that big, heavy weight of who he used to be and what he used to do. That's my choice. That's my legacy. Forgiving my dad. In a harrowing revelation, she says her brother S.A. her and her sisters when they were young. The ensuing introspection gets to the bottom of Davis's deep-seated pain and how it shaped one of the finest actors of a generation. When the Oscar, Emmy, and Tony winner does drop Will Smith's name in the opening pages, to set up a heart-to-heart they shared about their respective upbringings, it's one of the few references to her stardom before the final chapters. Davis acknowledges that she eventually became an actress as a coping mechanism of sorts. The process and artistry of piecing together a human being completely different from you was the equivalent of being otherworldly, she explains. It also has the power to heal the broken. All that was inside me that I couldn't work out in my life, I could channel it all in my work, and no one would be the wiser. If you know Davis's performances, then you understand the wrenching results of mining her emotions. Given Davis's deep personal connection to these issues, it's evident why she is deeply committed to supporting charities that combat childhood poverty. As her profile continues to rise, she gains a larger platform to bring attention to these crucial yet often overlooked issues. Davis is forthright in critiquing the industry's systemic biases, though she's discerning when discussing specific projects. When she does share insights, she delves beyond mere behind-the-scenes anecdotes or lighthearted set stories. Reflecting on her audition for Vera in 7 Guitars, her Broadway debut in an August Wilson play, she deeply connects the experience to her own troubled past. It was a beautiful scene of hurt, pain, longing, love, she reflects. It was me. It didn't require much for me to tap into that part of myself. Davis also provides captivating commentary on her roles in Doubt, Fences, How to Get Away with M, and The Help, where she both questions its creative aspects while expressing admiration for her collaborators. As Davis recounts her stay at George Clooney's Italian villa, what might initially seem like a cartoonishly lavish experience is reframed as a well-deserved break for someone whose path to success was riddled with obstacles. The genuine courtship between Davis and her husband, actor Julius Tenen, offers a refreshing contrast, as does Davis's heartfelt tribute to her daughter Genesis, whom the couple adopted in 2011. Despite Finding Me having its flaws, such as loose ends, stilted prose, and unnecessary anecdotes, Davis's personal journey triumphs over these criticisms. She skillfully intertwines her past struggles with her present triumphs, expressing, "I'm no longer ashamed of me. I own everything that has ever happened to me. The parts that were a source of shame are actually my warrior fuel." Indeed, Davis consistently demonstrates resilience, always seemingly having more to give, whether on stage or on screen. But it seems like her life behind the camera is also not as good as it was shown. Viola Davis has been unapologetically vocal about the unique challenges she faces as a Black woman in Hollywood. In a candid interview, she shed light on the glaring disparities in opportunities opportunities and pay between herself and her white counterparts. Speaking at the Women in the World LA Salon, Davis revealed, "We get probably a tenth of what a Caucasian woman gets, and I'm number one on the call sheet. And then I have to go in and I have to hustle for my worth." Drawing attention to her extensive and illustrious career spanning over 3 decades, Davis underscored her achievements, which include prestigious awards like an Oscar, an Emmy, and 2 Tonys, as well as flourishing in various mediums such as Broadway, off-Broadway, television, and film. She made a poignant comparison to acclaimed white actresses like Meryl Streep, Julianne Moore, and Sigourney Weaver, highlighting the parity in their career trajectories. However, despite their comparable accomplishments, Davis expressed frustration over the persistent disparities in compensation and job opportunities, exposing the stark inequalities ingrained within the entertainment industry.
But you can't compare me to you because, once again, I got the Oscar, I got the Emmy, I got the 2 Tonys. I've done Broadway, I've done off-Broadway, I've done TV, I've done film.
Viola Davis has been transparent about the ongoing struggle to advocate for her worth in Hollywood, where she feels compelled to constantly fight for fair compensation. Despite being compared to icons like Black Meryl Streep and receiving adoration from fans, she stresses that if she's genuinely esteemed as such, then her pay should reflect that acknowledgement. Davis expands the concept of worth beyond monetary compensation to include the quality and complexity of the roles she's offered. She yearns for intricate and challenging characters, stating, "Because when I delve into a role, I want something complicated too. I want to build the most complicated human being, but what I get is the third girl from the left." This underscores her desire for acknowledgement not only in terms of pay, but also in the depth and complexity of the characters she brings to life on screen. Now, all of these help highlight the importance of exposing what many now call hidden sources, which are credited with stunting the growth of many honest people in Hollywood. Talking about hidden sources, there's this movie called Sound of Freedom that supposedly spills the beans on some shady stuff going on in Hollywood. But let's be real, Hollywood, like any other, isn't exactly squeaky clean. It's got its fair share of controversies and sketchy behavior.
This film is too important not to miss. This is for our children, for our country, for our sovereignty. Right now.
Certainly, this ongoing and urgent issue demands the collective attention and action of humanity. It's worth noting that Jim Caviezel, known for his lead role in the movie, and Mel Gibson have a history of collaboration dating back to Passion of the Christ. Beyond their public work, they have joined forces behind closed doors, not only to tackle the aforementioned issue, but also to confront other taboo concerns in the world.
By taking a stand against radicals, you're helping them. And again, you were mentioning about Christians. They have to start waking up and getting to that level.
This movie was said to be Mill's move to expose all the human exploitations going on in the industry. According to Jim, "I'm going to destroy them because my own church staff, my fellow Pharisees, said evil. Well, I'm going to take them out." Now Viola Davis is following the same notion of exposing Hollywood and some significant activities undergoing there. She has been working in our foundation since her teenage. According to her, she has seen the victims in such miserable conditions that no one can imagine it.
We have to save each other. That's what it is. That's all I can say. I mean, other than, putting laws in place.
Not only has Viola dealt with the victims of Hollywood's cruelty, but she also has been a victim of such activities herself. During the Foundation's annual brunch, actress Viola Davis bravely opened up about her personal experiences, revealing that she had faced SA during her childhood.
Is everywhere. Listen, let's be honest. We've just been waiting for the Me Too movement. Okay?
The actress shared this heartbreaking truth with the assembled guests, highlighting her journey from being a victim to becoming a passionate advocate for the group. Her courage in speaking out sheds light on the urgent need to address and combat SA, empowering others to find their voice and seek justice.
I cannot tell you at any time in my life that I was not in some way where it was just inappropriate.
During the gathering in Beverly Hills where she was being honored, Viola Davis delivered a powerful speech, bravely detailing her own experiences. She revealed, "Myself, my mother, my sisters, my friend Rebecca, my childhood friend, we all share a common bond. We are all survivors of SA in some way, shape, or form. She further went on saying, "When I was young, there were so many men in the neighborhood who gave you money if they could touch you. Going over to a friend's house for a birthday party at the age of 7, there was always someone there who touched you." Having joined the industry at a young age, Viola Davis has spent years working in Hollywood. Throughout her career, she has used her platform to shed light on pressing and serious issues that have plagued the industry since its inception. In her speeches and interviews, she fearlessly addresses these matters, bringing attention to the predators in Hollywood who never hesitate to wield their power and cancel artists by threatening their families.
Survivors and victims of need their voices to be heard. I don't know any woman in my life that has not been somehow affected by.
Viola's fans have been profoundly touched by her remarkable bravery and steadfast courage in addressing a topic that few are willing to confront. They admire her fearlessness, understanding that speaking out on such sensitive issues demands immense strength, particularly in an industry where powerful figures often swiftly silence those who reveal even minor truths about them. One of them wrote, "They are a bunch of losers. You are gorgeous, incredibly talented, inspirational, and each time you go to that stage, your speech moves me, and I want to do more in life, Viola. Life is a fight. Keep fighting for us." Another added, "I feel like I learn something every time I hear Viola speak. I know I've said this before, but I love how Kirby interviews. She always lets the guests answer fully, uninterrupted, and lets the conversation flow naturally. Just like to add, The Help is probably my favorite film, or perhaps a close second behind The Untouchables." Buoyed by the unwavering support of her fans and allies, Viola Davis continues to boldly unveil more of the harrowing events that have shaped her life. In a recent disclosure, the celebrated star of How to Get Away with M, Viola Davis, shared a heartbreaking account of her sister Danielle's traumatic experience. At the tender age of 8, Danielle endured a terrifying incident in the aisles of a corner shop, while the shop owner callously dismissed it as routine, callously remarking, "Does that to all the little girls?"
Once that happens, women always say that's the day that they die.
Viola conveyed her determination to redefine the concept of being a survivor, recounting how her sister Danielle sought solace in substances to cope with her ordeal. She also shared the heartbreaking tale of a friend who tragically lost her daughter to a deranged attacker.
That's the girl I'm always focused on. Bringing her from the time she's traumatized to getting that kit to healing.
In another interview, she shared how her loved ones are surviving as a result of some powerful elite's cruelty. She said, "My sister is now a H addict. She's a P. The friend of mine who's a survivor, I call her a survivor because her 7-year-old daughter was taken from the backyard of her grandma's house while playing in the middle of the day." Viola also shed light on the extreme traumatic experiences endured by some victims who are subjected to such overwhelming control that their minds compel them to blame themselves for the actions done to them. This burden takes a toll on their lives, leading them to take harsh and harmful steps to cope with the pain they carry.
They begin to re-victimize themselves over and over again.
She openly talked about how victims are made A and abducted. Talking about her friend's daughter, she said, "They couldn't find her for an entire day, and they finally found her SA strangled. Dead. So her mom, she's surviving. It's just that when she's surviving, when she's alive just having a meal, she has flashbacks, post-traumatic stress disorder." Upon delving deeper into Hollywood's history, we encounter a plethora of unspoken truths. A notable example is the case of Thandie Newton, where evidence indicates that the elites exerted control over her, leaving her traumatized by their actions.
I was definitely objectified to an extreme.
Thandie also disclosed that she was manipulated deliberately when she was young and joined the industry. The incident happened when her father went to another country and she was alone. She said, "I was 16 and a virgin. I'd been psychologically G over weeks. I didn't fight him off. I was almost paralyzed with fear. It was SA." During an interview, she recalled another incident which took place when she was auditioning at the studio for the second time. In the meantime, she was asked to be a part of an indecent activity.
And the director asked me to sit with my legs apart. The camera was right between, positioned where it could see up my skirt.
Thandie further disclosed that she was also asked to sit in a weird manner in which she was not comfortable, saying, "He asked me to put my leg over the arm of the chair and think about the character I was supposed to be having the dialogue with and how it felt to be made love to by this person. He was a director. I was still very young and thought it must be normal." Years later, when Thandie Newton encountered the same director at the Cannes Festival, she noticed him giving her a strange smile. This raised her suspicion, prompting her to investigate further. To her shock, she discovered that the director had been secretly recording audition tapes and showing them to others in his home. This revelation explained his peculiar behavior towards Thandie and shed light on an unsettling practice within the industry.
Show that video late at night to interested parties at his house.
Thandie Newton, known for her roles in Line of Duty and Westworld, has been an outspoken advocate for shedding light on the pervasive issues of and racism in the entertainment industry. Throughout her career, she has courageously spoken out about her own experiences and the pressure she faced to remain silent about them.
It's not about the person that's been abused. It's not just their role to say enough. It's about the people around. How much are the people that witness, how much are they perpetrators of the crime?
During another interview with British Vogue, she has explained how these extremely violent incidents have changed her psychologically and as well. She said, "There's a moment where the ghost of me changed, and it was 16. He derailed me from myself utterly. I was traumatized. It was a kind of PTSD for sure. I was so distraught and appalled that a director had a young actress, and that it was happening elsewhere, minors getting and how F up it was. I was basically waiting for someone to come along and say, well, what shall we do about this?" Newton shared that following her ordeal, she grappled with eating disorders, using control over her food intake as a means to cope with the trauma. She expressed, "I punished my body to try and find my heart." Eddie Murphy recently made a revelation exposing Hollywood's historical mistreatment of Black actors. According to Murphy, the industry deliberately fostered division among Black actors, prioritizing separation over unity. He hinted at undisclosed actions contributing to this intentional divide. Murphy's remarks illuminate a troubling reality where Black actors, instead of standing united, have been pitted against each other. He suggests that these divisive dynamics have become deeply ingrained in the minds of aspiring Black actors, further fracturing their community.
I ain't say I ain't in it. Huh? What sucks? Reaganomics sucks? Or tell us something we don't know.
Imagine Eddie Murphy stepping into a role in a project directed by Jordan Peele, or witnessing Jamie Foxx and Denzel Washington founding their own production company. Interestingly, there's a conspicuous lack of collaboration between Eddie Murphy and Spike Lee throughout their careers. These two figures, both highly regarded in Hollywood, epitomize a prevalent trend among influential Black creatives today. They refrain from collaborating out of concern that working together could potentially jeopardize the individual successes they have painstakingly built.
Make it, you gotta bust your Black. You gotta be relentless. You gotta persevere. You gotta be focused.
Numerous theories suggest that Eddie Murphy has been involved in over 50 movies in under 5 years, with only a small fraction of those featuring a Black director. This apprehension, indicative of industry dynamics, could potentially explain why there hasn't been a collaboration between Spike Lee and Tyler Perry on a project. A similar sentiment may also be at play in the absence of a partnership between Will Smith and Denzel Washington for a series of films, reminiscent of the dynamic observed with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro.
Yeah, it was wise.
Especially that we are meeting kind of for the first time. That's important. So yeah, that does help.
The absence of collaboration between Spike Lee and Eddie Murphy appears to stem from deeper reasons. In the present moment, there's a growing global awareness surrounding the vulnerability of Black lives, a result of systemic issues that have led to troubling outcomes. With the heightened visibility of the Black Lives Matter movement, more people are acknowledging the necessity for transformative change, beginning with the empowerment of economic influence.
The president of the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce says more businesses are seeking her help.
The shift in awareness has sparked a widespread desire to support Black-owned businesses, thereby promoting the circulation of wealth within the Black community. While the importance of backing such enterprises has gained renewed emphasis, it's not an entirely new concept. In Power Dynamics, a book by Dr. Claude Anderson, the significance of examining spending patterns among Black Americans is explored. Ultimately, the narrative underscores the vital importance of keeping Black funds under Black control.
Black folk fail to understand that that schools are not change agents. They're only doing doing what the environment wants it to do. Schools in this country starting in the 1860s were designed.
Now, this is not the only case with male actors. The female young artists have also faced the same scenario. Oprah Winfrey and Taraji P. Henson recently found themselves in the midst of rumors suggesting a feud during the press tour for the upcoming Color Purple musical film. Speculation arose after a viral video sparked fan analysis of the body language between the two stars, implying potential tension. However, both Oprah and Taraji swiftly addressed the rumors on social media, dispelling any notion of a feud. Oprah lauded Taraji's talents and expressed excitement about her portrayal of Shug Avery in the film, while Taraji defended Oprah, highlighting the unwavering support and guidance she had received. The rumors were promptly put to rest as the two actresses showcased solidarity and mutual admiration. Oprah Winfrey has undoubtedly built an influential media empire that encompasses television production, acting, and publishing. Her remarkable contributions have earned her numerous accolades, including the prestigious Presidential Medal of Freedom. Beyond her media ventures, Oprah is recognized for her philanthropy work and advocacy on various social issues. During this one moment, they did not synchronize. The December 12th press event, hosted on top of New York City's Empire State Building, captured a moment that appeared to show Oprah awkwardly approaching Taraji. The video suggests a brief exchange where they meet eyes but seem to divert their attention elsewhere. It's reminiscent of those uncomfortable elevator rides with colleagues you may not get along with. While the differences between black billionaires, the narrative shifts to a broader discussion about struggles, particularly in Hollywood. Taraji recently addressed the challenges faced by black actors, shedding light on pay disparities and inequality within the industry. This issue is not unique to her, as Gabrielle Union, Keke Palmer, and other black actors have also spoken out about the disparity between their efforts on screen and the compensation they receive. The speculation around a possible discord between Oprah and Taraji may stem from concerns that financial troubles could overshadow the film. Produced by Steven Spielberg, Quincy Jones, and Oprah herself, there may be a shared desire to keep the focus on the project rather than personal financial matters. Social media commentary and theories surrounding the payment disparities and dedication of the cast have likely prompted discussions within the media sphere. Taraji's team, or the significant PR machinery associated with The Color Purple, might have become aware of the shifting narrative surrounding the film. Consequently, they may have encouraged Taraji to address the matter publicly, leading to her statement on the issue.
Notice how Oprah treats everybody during this press conference. Taraji is first, right? Now look at her eyes. She looks down when she's talking about the movie. She wasn't excited about it.
And Taraji has worked with Viola, and reportedly, according to Viola, Taraji deserves all the respect in the industry. Not only Viola, it seems like almost every black woman is suffering in the industry. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.